and no great educational possibilities. Alberione saw that there is, how can this be done? Then we shall make a pact with the Lord saying, yes, you have to give us special treatment. Okay, we thank you for giving us this great mission. We thank you for that. But now please see that we are treated specially, because we need that one for 4, 1 for 10 or thinking. So the pact with the Lord is exactly in this sense, that we need special assistance from the Lord, because only the Lord can do that. And to recall the story I told you of one-winged angels, yes, we are willing to give you our one wing, but our one wing, to get the benefit of your one wing, I have to remain embraced to you. That is wonderful. That Alberione has not said, but I found that this story is very much the idea of Alberione, because it is the great mission you have given us is only an invitation for us to work in team with you. And you know what is the beauty about it? When you are united with your one wing, united, embraced with the Lord and making use of the Lord's wing, who is your partner in flight is God Himself. That is security. That is not only security, that is the effectiveness. So anything, there is nothing that cannot be done, nothing that has to be kept aside. Now, we have been seeing now the background, how this prayer came up, how Alberione composed this prayer, more than 20 times revising it, took years to reach its final form. So it is given to us as a secret. As a secret. You know why the word secret substitutes the word magic? It is a magic formula, but it is not a magic. It is a secret when we, in total faith, we entrust ourselves to the Lord, and trust in Him totally, then definitely what we are asking for will be accomplished. And definitely we will be able to answer the great call to which we are called. There is no problem. So that is what I mentioned to you. There are real examples of so many sisters, priests, who have experienced this in their life. They have discovered the secret of success, which means they discovered the pact, the power of this pact with God. God cannot withdraw. The master cannot withdraw. Hey, I have given this, I have signed for you, and it will be done. All that is required from us is our faith, deep faith in Him. So this is a prayer of faith. Remember that. Now, this remaining time, we will take a look at the text of the prayer itself. As we prayed it in the beginning, so we'll just, this is nothing very special, very easy for you to understand, to follow in any way. So first thing is, first point is, Jesus Master, accept this pact we present to you through the hands of Mary, Queen of the Apostles, and our Holy Father Saint Paul. So a pact. A pact, when we make a pact, an agreement, we need witnesses, don't we? We need witnesses. Any agreement you make and you sign an agreement with anybody, you need witnesses. And we have called in, Father Alberion has called in 2 witnesses, not one. And one is Mary, Queen of the Apostles, and the other one is our Holy Father Saint Paul. So, witnesses to the agreement are these 2. We have really solid witnesses. It's not a joke. We have solid witnesses who are watching for us. So, these 2 witnesses are going to help us to be faithful to the pact. And on our part, what we need is, it is coming in the prayer, our trust, total trust in Him, our total commitment to the cause. These are the things we, on our part, we can put into the observance of the pact. So, Alberione says, we should pray the pact every day at least during the visit. And then when we have to begin a new work, a new house, or to take up some new activity. That is why we began this encounter with reciting the pact. So, in some way, we are telling the Lord, say, remember, we are that special group with whom you have concluded a pact. You can't now go back on it. So, please help us specially. So, and the founder continues, to make only the resolution of humility he says, you need great humility, you need great faith. To make a resolution of humility will be a mistake, the founder says. Yes. Only the resolution of humility is a mistake. The same way, to make a resolution on faith only is a mistake. It is necessary that we make the 2 resolutions together. We need humility and faith. We need deep humility. That is, what is humility? Recognizing, realizing the truth. The truth is that we are not so the fitting elements for the great vocation that we have received. We do not have any of the qualifications or qualities needed for accomplishing the mission He entrusts us. So that humility, understanding our limitations, and at the same time, total faith in the Lord. That thing is, by myself, I can do nothing, but with God, I can do all things. By myself, I can do nothing, but with God, I can do all things. Many saints have said this. You know, the Saint Teresa, the Mother Teresa, not the one of Child Jesus, Saint Teresa of Avila. He said, alone I can do nothing. She said, alone I can do nothing. Alone and with God, I can do almost everything. And then she added, alone and with God and with money, I can do everything. So that is a humorous way of putting that. She was saying we need resources also to do. But God, here our Father Alberione says, Lord, you provide resources. We do not have. You give us. Okay. So these 2 elements, humility and deep faith. God has planned that I should become a saint. When the Lord gave you the vocation and when He sends you in obedience to an office, so you are assigned a work, an apostolate, He gives also the necessary grace. That is normally what He does. Faith, deep faith, and believe deeply, profoundly that God will assist you, help you, will work with you, will give you His wing so that you will fly high. That's not your one wing that is taking you now. So this is what Alberione says about that. Let us go ahead with the prayer. So first thing is, first sentence says, okay, we are making this pact and these two are our witnesses. That's all. The second point is, we must correspond to your holy will, reach the degree of perfection and heavenly glory which you have destined for us, and apply ourselves zealously to the apostolate of social communications. So, we must do this because we understand that you have called us for this. So this is the fact. He is just stating, now since you have called us to this life, this special vocation, this is what is expected of us. We have to do this. So the alliance on Mount Sinai, it becomes also a collective experience of the people. On Mount Sinai, Moses met the Lord, God. But that meeting, that agreement became a collective experience. And that is what happens also in our case. Liberated by God with a mighty hand, the people, the collective, that is Israel, is destined to become His particular people. So, agreement is with the Lord, with one person, Moses and God. But it is for the whole people. That is the case ours also. So we are His chosen people for this particular form of apostolate, a chosen race, a community of royal priesthood, a consecrated nation, a people God has set apart, and so on, from the First Peter. So God communicates His will, manifesting His law to Moses, but it is not for him, it is for all. Now, this way, we have Alberione in the second point of the prayer, he places before the Lord. This is a situation. We have to respond. We have to respond and do this. Because such is the call you have given us. Now, very often it is like, according to him, according to our founder, in the Pauline family, we are destined to a great glory. But before reaching that great glory, we must reach a high degree of perfection. We need to try to reach a high degree of perfection because we are destined for great glory. And he goes on. When Jesus began his public ministry, he went to the lake shore, the shore of the lake of Thenasseril, and there, whom did he call? He is asking. He called ignorant, poor fishermen. And whom has the Lord chosen for our congregation? He is making a parallel. When the Lord was collecting his first disciples, he went to the shore of the lake and called fishermen. And fishermen, they have no schooling, no education, nothing. And he is asking, Whom do you think God called in our Pauline family? Ignorant people, generally children of peasants, not from the noble race, not from the high class. Ordinary, simple people, lacking in many things. So, this is the way God has called us into the Pauline family, choosing, just as Jesus chose his disciples from among the fishermen, he has chosen us also among from the lower strata of the population, not from the intellectuals, not from the wealthy. That is the reality. That is what Alberione realized. And ignorant people, generally children of peasants, people who in front of the enterprise like the Society of St. Paul, this big work, could only say, Lord, I am not worthy. Lord, I am not worthy. That only we could say. Because you are demanding from me great sanctity, great glory, and great apostolate. And I am not fit. I am not the man. And this we will come back to it. Like in Jeremiah, when he was called, what he said, I do not know how to speak. I have a stammer, and you are calling me, what I will do? That is the situation what Alberione experienced, and that is what he wanted to convince his followers of. We are not exceptional people, cleverest ones, so God can achieve what he wants. No. We are only with one wing. And God is coming to supply the lacking wing, the other one, which will enable us to fly to the heights. So, Alberione says, ask for faith. Ask for what concerns the salvation of people. We were in need of the means, and we had neither knowledge, nor money, nor social influence, nor human support. Remember Jesus walking on the waves of the sea. He refers to that experience of Peter. Peter once, Lord, tell me to come to you on the water. And you come. And he started, but when he saw the difficulties were enormous, that means the waves were too big. How could I walk on this? And then you know what happened, the story we know. And our founder, citing this gospel passage, he says, we two are in the same way. Big things we have started on. Walking on the water is not a normal thing. The same way you are called to the opposite of the mass media, the communication, is not a small thing. It's too big. And still, you have set out on this. And if you, for a moment, take away your sight from the Lord and concentrate on the difficulties surrounding you, you will not succeed. Then you need special assistance of the Lord. So, St. Paul says that God chose the ignorant. You know the famous passage from 1 Corinthians 1:27, the sentence, He chose the ignorant of the world to confound the wise. That is the reality in our case also. That is what. So reach the degree of perfection and heavenly glory which you have destined for us. We have a great destiny, but before we must reach the high degree of perfection that we have already. And how to arrive? Arrive at the degree of perfection. Though our apostolate, through our apostolate, we multiply the copies necessary for distribution, as also we multiply merits. That is what Father Alberione was telling to his people. Now, all these what we are seeing of the explanation of the prayer is all in his own words. Father Alberione has given at different times to different congregations. In a retreat in 1963 to the Daughters of St. Paul, then to the sister disciples, in so many talks in pastoral assistants, and to all the congregations he has explained this prayer, because he wanted every one of the Pauline family to understand fully the spirit of this prayer and make use of this secret. And that would be the secret of success. Next point is, but we find ourselves weak, ignorant, incapable, insufficient in all things, in spirit, in knowledge, in zeal, in poverty. So, recognizing that we are really poor, recognizing our inadequacy. We find ourselves weak, ignorant, incapable, insufficient in all things. The people of Israel also repeatedly showed their hardness of heart and their disloyalty to the promise made to the Lord. Through disobedience, they lost his friendship. That is the Bible story, the story of during the course of history, how Israel handled. Now we can run the same risk. So that is why the founder insists our total commitment to the cause, our total surrender in faith to the Lord. So our ignorance, our insufficiencies, I think we have understood more than enough. Next point we go. You instead are the way, the truth, and the life, the resurrection and the highest truth. We trust only in what you have said. Whatever you ask the Father in my name, you will give it to you. Alberione harps on this. The promise God has made. Now you can't go back on it. You only said whatever you ask the Father in my name, you will receive. Then I am asking in your name, please give this. So it is again going back to entering the contract. Contract is this. In March 1959, preaching to the Good Shepherd sisters, Father Alberione said, believe this, that study can produce 4 times for 1. 4 times for 1, the same story, proportion that we have already saw. So he is repeating to every congregation, explaining this story of this proportion. 4 times for 1. I study for 1 hour, you give me result for 4 hours. That is the same story everywhere. In the same way, again, speaking to the pious disciples at Aricia in 23rd March 1960, what Alberione said, always proceed with faith. In our book, there is a prayer, he is telling the sisters. In our book, there is a prayer, the pact or the secret of success. Yes. In the pact, we say 3 things to the Lord. What is that? One thing, Lord, we are wanting in all things. And whatever we already have is yours. So ours, nothing is there. Number 2, because you have destined us to a special sanctity and to a special apostolate. So remember, this is what you have destined us for. And number 3, you certainly accompany us with your grace, because in our case, your will is always accomplished by the grace that comes from you. Hence our trust in you. Hence we trust in you. So this is what? So he was telling the sister disciples in that talk, this is it. You know this prayer in this pact of secret of success. And what it means is this. This is the reason for our hope in the promise of the Lord. Whatever you ask the Father will be given to you. Again, coming back, oh Lord, you have made this promise. You can't go back on it. So whatever you ask, so we shall be given the sanctity to which we are called. So we are called to higher sanctity. We are not at all saintly. We are really miserable sinners. And the vocation to higher sanctity. And we shall be given ability in our apostolate to which we are destined. We are not experts to do the apostolate of communications, but the ability you will give. We shall be given the knowledge to understand. So, yes, confidence in the Word of God, and so we shall commit ourselves to do all, only and always for the glory of the Lord. That is a commitment from our part. We will do everything and always for the glory of God. Again, he speaks, he explains this prayer again to the Apostolic sisters at Castel Gandolfo on 8th March 1959. The Lord has chosen you, my little flock. Do not be afraid, because the Lord is pleased to give you this grace. So if he has chosen you, he is giving you. You should always remember the prayer of the secret of success, telling them also. You remember the secret of success. Pray. No, he insisted with every congregation. Which means, this is not a simple prayer in a prayer book. Among the so many prayers. It is a very special secret that is given to us. We need to rediscover its spirit and its power. We need to discover its spirit and its power. It has been proved that this prayer is really powerful. It works miracles. It has worked in the life of Blessed Alberione. It was a miracle in the early brothers and sisters and fathers' life. And not only those. Even today, there are people who faithfully pray this in time of when they stand in need of a very special help. And that is what the founder suggested. When you are beginning something, a new activity, a new house, foundation of a new house, a new initiative, whatever it is, then pray the secret of success. Because that secret of success, when you pray, we are surrendering ourselves in deep faith to the Lord. All the same, it is necessary that the recitation, in order to be efficacious, should be the fruit of a living faith, coming by hammering on the same thing. Faith, 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 humility, humility, humility. Combined both, you are going to have the secret how to succeed. Okay, next point in our prayer is, on our part, what? On our part, we promise and we bind ourselves to seek eagerly in all things, in our lives and in our apostolate, only and always your glory and the peace to humanity. We trust that you will grant us goodwill, grace, knowledge, and the means of doing good. So this we know already. I just want to point out one thing here. Alberione was being very clever. I would say cunning. You know why? See, a pact is this. When you make a contract, an agreement with another person, two people making an agreement, both terms should be equal, no? It should be equal. In the sense that I do this for you, you do this for me. I give you this and you give me this. Agreement is signed, witnesses are there, that's okay, no? That is normal. But you notice one subtle play here, Alberione's trick, I would call it. On our part, what we do? We promise and we bind ourselves. On our part, we promise. On our side, it is a promise. And what is on your part? No, not a promise. You have to do. So it is the two terms. On one side, it is a promise to do. Promise to do is not doing. We may go back on the promise, but we are promising, we will try to do. But on your part, don't promise or try, because you need not try, because you do. What you decide is done. So on your part, you do the things right away. So you see the Alberione with this promise. On our part, we promise and we bind ourselves to seek this and do this. And you grant us goodwill, grace, knowledge, and the means of doing. That is just to point out one small subtle thing in this prayer. Okay, let us go, because we need some time for you to share. No, so we go up to the next point. According to your immense goodness and the needs of our special vocation, multiply. We are coming back to the story of multiplication. Multiply the fruits of our spiritual labor, our study, our apostolate, and our poverty. The same thing we already saw. So this multiplication story is also unfair. It's not a contract. Both sides are not equal. Yeah? We do one, you give us 4. We do one, you give us 10. Hey. 1:1 is justice, fairness. But here it is not a question. So Alberione has made this pact to his advantage. Is he not a clever fellow? He has made this contract with the Lord to his advantage. On one side, as I mentioned, he puts a promise against the fact, promise against deeds. And another thing, this with his calculation of proportion, 1 against 10, 1 against 4. You give more, we give this much. Why? How to justify Alberione being so clever to conclude a contract with the Lord in this way? How to justify? Very simple. Alberione opens his psalm and says, I have my empty hands. I have nothing. I don't have. I need 10. I have hardly 1. So I give you 1. You give me 10. Interesting, no? Interesting how his fact is, in reality, when you go deep into it, it is all in his favor. It is, in other words, it is in our favor. When we accept this fact, we make this our own, and we pray, we really live this fact. This is an unfair fact, but always in our favor. So we should take the maximum advantage of it. That is what we can do. And then, therefore, O good Master, to the intercession of our Mother Mary, please treat us with the mercy you showed to the Apostle Paul, so that, faithful in imitating our Father on earth, we may be his companions in the glory of heaven. This is also interesting. So, what type of treatment, Lord, you give us? What type of treatment? And he treated Paul. Now we have to go and see how he treated Paul. That is interesting because Paul was the bad guy who was persecuting the church. But what you did? You gave him the grace of conversion. And just, we could say, you took him by the neck and put it in this side. He was in the other camp, persecuting the church. But you just took and put him on your camp. That is a great mercy you showed to Saint Paul. And the trust the Lord showed to Saint Paul. What is the trust? This guy was a dangerous fellow. You remember Ananias reminding the Lord, don't have anything to do with this guy. No, this is a very dangerous fellow. Don't have anything to do with him. You remember Ananias, when the Lord appeared to Ananias saying that now Saul is coming to you, receive him and so on. Now he gets baptized. Oh, you know the story. So, what is the great trust the Lord has laid on? He was a really dangerous fellow for the faith, for his people, for the Lord's people, for Christians. And now this dangerous fellow is trusted with the message to be taken to the whole Gentile world. It is like appointing someone, you know that he is dangerous, you do not know what he would do, and placing your trust on that guy for your great work. And Father Alberione is asking the Lord in this pact to treat us like that. Your mercy made him from a persecutor to an ardent apostle, that as we pray. Now, you also treat us with the same trust you placed in Saint Paul by entrusting your job to him. And you imagine what is the situation now. If you look at it, the whole Gentile world, the whole world is left to this man. And other apostles, hardly anybody. Maybe we can say of Thomas, who came to India, or few like that who has gone to. Otherwise, all limited their preaching, their apostolate to the people of Israel. So the big chunk of responsibility and job is entrusted to someone who was suspect, who is, we don't know. So you trusted Paul like that? Trust us also. Why you have difficulty in trusting us? Because we are incapable, insufficient, unable to do, we have no knowledge, we have no. But that only you can make it, you will give us. So you are calling the intercession of Mary. Please treat us with the mercy you showed to the Apostle Paul, so that faithful in imitating our Father on earth, we may be his companions in the glory of heaven. That is the conclusion of the prayer. So, see, we have, yes, now we will leave the time for you. Others, there should be more time for you to speak.